Hello my good students, welcome back to our War on the Sea Let's Play series as the Imperial Japanese Navy. Things are going very well indeed. We did manage to stifle some US supplies going straight towards Guadalcanal in the previous episode with our Yamato task force here. So we are just going to very quickly review the damage that the Yamato itself took, because I think everything else was pretty much unhurt. So it will be coming up on our tab on the strategic map that our Yamato is damaged, but things are looking fairly okay actually. It has taken a lot of damage, well, it has taken damage on a lot of compartments, that's what I mean to say, but the damage itself not particularly bad at all. Our general efficiency and such is 100%, and we've taken around 10% damage on these damaged modules at the very most, and that is very nice indeed. So in a very nice place on this strategic map, so we're going to look at that and see what we can do from here. So we are due to be resupplied and such on day 42, and that is not too far away at all. What we're going to do then is carry on scouting around Guadalcanal. We're going to use these destroyers as anti-submarine group at the moment. I get the feeling there is something lurking around. We haven't seen any submarines for quite some time, have we? And that is something to worry about. We do have some enemy troops on Guadalcanal, but as you see, with the balance of power, that is absolutely not a problem. That should be over and done with in a couple days, and that is brilliant stuff. That means we can finally start looking at just upgrading Guadalcanal rather than simply defending it, which is a very nice position to be in. I think we're going to reinforce Guadalcanal just a little bit more, and then we might start thinking about taking Renault Island, just so that we don't have to worry about minor float planes coming towards Guadalcanal when we do launch ships outside of the area, and so that we do have some sort of radar coverage to the south over here from these straits coming up from the New Hebrides. We might get a little bit more sight and warning on anything in this area without having to send any ships and planes over. That'd be very nice indeed. Another thing that's on my mind is actually getting rid of the Taiyo, and that is because it doesn't have a huge amount of planes on it. We have lost most of its Kate planes. It does only have 18 zeros on it, and now that we have both the Hiyo and the Ryujo out again, which do have a very nice complementary force of zeros and Kates on them, we're not necessarily needing the Taiyo so much anymore, especially with the fact that we have destroyed a lot of the enemy's aircraft carriers themselves. I don't think that's particularly needed, so what we're going to do is actually tell that to split from this group, and we are going to let it go all the way back to Rabaul, and once it's finished in its rest and repair, we should get reimbursed the command points for that, and that'll be just in time, hopefully, to come in at the same time as our command points from being resupplied, and that will mean that we can get a very nice little task force going. After that, I think the plan there is to get either perhaps go for a Shokaku. That possible on the cards there, but I think it'd be decent to get a nice surface group out as well, so we can be a little more mobile. We are going to get a total of 93 command points in, which is very juicy indeed. So those are the only plans we have at the moment. Otherwise, just going to keep scouting about and see what we can spot, really. Okay, so the only contact we've had in the last few days actually is this minor patrolling force down here, and this is just south of the Shortland Islands, so they have crept up on us a little bit. They're not too interested in any engagements, which is very lucky indeed, but we are going to hit them with some Donryus if possible. So we have perhaps a Benson or Gleaves over here, an Atlanta of course, and it looks like a Jervis in the rear. The Atlanta, of course, going to be the main target for us today, I think. So we're going to go straight in and try and target that. Should be very nice if we get some hits on that. Not necessarily need to sink it, though it is, of course, always the main hope there. What we're going to do is go with the front group of Donryus and make them line ahead very easily like that. See if we can get a very nice strike on there. They are armed with 800 kilogram armor-piercing bombs, all 6 of the Donryus. So we're going to go straight in. I think that's a fairly decent line there to attack. So we're going to tell them, actually, no, not too sure. We're going to tell them to slow down, move around just a little bit, and tell them to attack, I think, from about here. That would be very nice indeed. This group, we don't need to tell them to actually form up at all. I did have all of these grouped up just a second ago. I'm going to change their formation and now we can attack properly as well. This group needs to be told to attack very quickly because otherwise we're going to overshoot them, and we're going to keep them spread out just in case the Atlanta decides to start taking evasive maneuvers. We are going to speed up, I think, with this group before anything gets shot down there. And we are about to drop. We have lost one, unfortunately. Should have sped up a little bit sooner, so that is not going to be too great. And we might not hit here if it is taking the steep or sharp turn there. See how it goes. Should be landing any second. Come on. Ah, no, you see just the one. Where did the other one go? That is rather strange. There's only one bomb did in fact hit the water there. And there's the rest there. Very sad indeed that we just about missed that, but not a problem at all. In fact, the bigger problem is actually we have come into contact with a lot of fighters over here. That is not good at all. That is signs of another carrier coming out of the woodwork there. Going to tell these planes to quickly return to base. The Atlanta spotted about here, not too much of a threat at all, but we are going to have to focus our scouting perhaps in this sort of direction here. We do have submarines waiting around, perhaps trying to intercept anything over here, but we are going to launch, I think, pairs of howitzers out just to have a scout around to the north there. So we're going to tell them to scout. The first group can scout about like this in a circle-ish, very wiggly circle over there, and to expend their fuel like that. Can we send anything else up? We can send perhaps a couple more pairs out to fill in any gaps. It does appear that a few of our other fighters out in scouting do have to return at the moment, which is not too bad. They should be out soon. Again, we're going to carry on like that then and see where they go. We can see that these fighters are going back to their bases, but it looks like all of the enemy fighters are coming down to this sort of area here. It looks like we have scouted out some sort of dive bombers there, or torpedo bombers. We are going to go to tactical here and see if we can catch those. Of course, we do only have 2 howitzers out here, so they are going to stay together. I think going to bring them out. Oh, we see some sort of muzzle flashes actually. Let's carry on forwards. And this, oh, that was very lucky. Went into tactical here. So we have found the enemy formation, and it's a rather nasty formation indeed. We're definitely going to have to intercept this with some sort of submarines before Yamato comes in. So it is a Bogue, which is not the most threatening aircraft carrier by any stretch. It is mostly a Wildcat threat. Going to double check how many Bogues they have left actually. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not bad at all. So this will be going down very shortly. But of course we do have what appears to be a Tennessee over here. Let's just double check that, and it is indeed. They only have the one, so this is the only Tennessee about, and that is great news that we can perhaps get this down. I get the feeling we may have encountered this previously or quite a while ago. They do have quite a big group of cargo ships here as well, which is not very good news at all. And is that 2? That is 2 heavy cruisers, a New Orleans and a Pensacola, I believe. Indeed it is. So quite a threatening force indeed. Nothing we can do about it with the 2 howitzers though. We're perhaps going to scout around for those torpedo bombers though. I think they must have gone more south, but we should have a look. I'll get back to you if that's the case, but otherwise we'll go straight back to the strategic map and see what we can do about that. Okay, so unfortunately we couldn't see those torpedo bombers in the area, so what we're going to do is tell these howitzers to retreat back to Guadalcanal, and we're going to launch, I think, the rest of our howitzers out to support the Yamato group, just in case they do decide to come down to us before we can do anything about it. What we could, of course, do, we have a few options here. Going to send the Task Force 4 down here to intercept if possible, but it's not too likely because, of course, the surface fleet will be much quicker than these. We do, of course, have the Ryujo and the Hiyo over here to use their own aircraft, but I think at the moment the aircraft threat is too great, and they do of course have a huge amount of AA protection around that task force just because of the volume of ships there, which is rather large. So what we're going to do is, I think, do we want to put these 2 destroyers in as well just to help out I think we're going to put these to merge the group over here, like so. I'm going to double check exactly how that looks. So they would be 7 and 8, and that's not bad to have them actually out like that. 2 Yugamos out there to scout and to watch for any submarines, and perhaps fire out some torpedoes as well. So what we're going to do is actually don't really want to have to pull back the Yamato, but that is going to have to stand guard over Guadalcanal because I do not want anything landing on there just yet. Although I get the feeling if they get given the chance, they might land on Melita first. Well, I don't mind that just yet. I'd rather they landed on there than Guadalcanal, I think. We'll be able to transport some troops over from Guadalcanal in defense of that. So what we're going to do is carry on with the plan, get our submarines over here, see if we can intercept them. Going to bring the I-9 down, see if that can perhaps intercept on the way down, see if we can pinch them in. Otherwise, we can of course launch some planes from Guadalcanal and our carriers there to try and hit them. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have decided to go into tactical view with our Yamato task force because we did, of course, see these Avengers flying about, but they didn't actually choose to go into tactical themselves. They didn't look like they wanted to attack us, but we're going to take the opportunity to fire on them if possible. We certainly want to get them while we outnumber them, of course, with our planes. We're going to get a few hybrids over to this straggler over here. Hopefully we can get some sort of shots onto, it looks like a lone Avenger over here at the moment. Over here it looks like a lone Avenger as well. So we are going to try and pick these off one by one and try and get them down as quickly as possible. It does of course look like it's going to take the opportunity to attack us, but that's not a problem. Just the one Avenger, they're coming in piecemeal like this, should not be a issue whatsoever, especially with our hybrids chasing them down like this. We might lose 1 or 2 though if we don't decide to fire on the approach there. Not doing too well with our altitude, are we, on the approach? And we are already smoking over here with this howitzer after going into the range of the tail gunner. But this one is down, this particular Avenger is down. So we are going to fast forward over to attacking this one over here, which is going for an attacking altitude over there. We are on the way. So that should be absolutely fine. Very, very easy. And this might be the case until we get contact with the carrier once again. And once again we have to go into a defensive tactical view because we see the float planes from the Russell Islands, or the Renault Islands, I do apologise if it's Renault Island, coming in to look at the Yamato over here, which is not ideal at all. They didn't seem to want to start a fight themselves this time, once again, so we are going to have to sort them out now, just to make sure they are permanently damaged, permanently destroyed, make sure they cannot interfere with us in the future. Just making sure all of our howitzers as such do have some orders. I have reinforced this with any howitzers and Toryus left on Guadalcanal just in case, because we're getting a lot of air traffic around Yamato. But no one willing to actually start a fight, which is I'm quite thankful for. Very thankful for that indeed, because it means we can just pick these off without many issues, and that'd be very, very nice indeed. The fighters actually not looking like they want to tango with us just yet. It looks like we've changed our orders here once again. That is rather unfortunate there. Do not want that to happen. We do have a little bit more time with these Catalinas over here to worry about them. I'm just going to get rid of the Mariner over here just yet, which is brilliant. Let's make sure we haven't changed our orders once again. It does appear that we have, which is rather stupid, if you ask me. A little frustrating as well. Do see the Mariners coming down there in the distance, which is lovely stuff. Oh, nice like coconut rice that is. Struggling with the dive onto the Catalinas there, but we are getting some hits onto them. It's going to make a strafe from behind very easy if we do bother to shoot them. Brilliant, okay. Our masses of hybrids is having a little bit of trouble here. Not entirely sure what the issue is here. Perhaps we should tell them to slow down a bit, shall we? Make sure they can turn properly. It does appear that they are changing their orders without us telling them though, which is rather stupid. Keep doing that, and that might be the problem there. I do think they might be changing their orders right on the last second. is not helping whatsoever, but they are all down finally, and we can look back at the strategic map. Okay, so the problem here is that we actually haven't sighted that task force again. I have sent out a roof over here just to check this gap between the islands and our task force 4 of submarines here. And there's nothing there, which is rather strange indeed. I think what we're going to do is tell the submarines to go back out over here. I have protected our aircraft carriers with their own zeros there as well, because it looked like some of the US aircraft was coming this direction. What we could do then is actually launch perhaps a Jake out from the Shortland Islands to check that the carrier task force isn't coming over to attack the Shortlands like that, and that would be rather useful indeed. Could we launch anything else from here? We could launch some Mavises, not particularly the best scouts by any stretch of the imagination. What we could do actually is go back to this task force here. Do we have any spare Jakes? We do indeed have a few on a Yamato, which is very useful indeed. So we're going to launch out some Jakes to see if we can spot that task force, see if it's decided to perhaps move off, or see if it's decided to actually go for the Shortland Islands, which would not be good at all. So let's do that and see if we can spot it. Okay, well, a couple of days have actually passed, as you may be able to notice, and we have not got any more signs of that carrier task force, which is very worrying. But still was somewhat of a relief that we don't have to deal with that so immediately in such an emergency. But another update is, of course, that we have some fuel and supplies coming down to Guadalcanal. So we are going to unload all of our cargo here. We do have some supplies and troops as well. And we are going to see if we can upgrade Guadalcanal, and it does appear that we can do so. So that is brilliant. If we do so like that, it's now a level 4 airfield, which is absolutely amazing. Only one upgrade to level 5, and then we can think permanently about moving over to the Papua New Guinea bases, Milne Bay and Port Moresby, which will be a greater challenge actually, because they do have quite a few troops over here we can bet, and of course they have very well upgraded airfield and indeed port on Port Moresby, which will be an additive bonus to their defensive power there. So we're going to bring back our troop carriers and such all the way back to Rabaul right now. You can also see that we have of course been resupplied, and we are, like I said, going to wait. It is just until midday and the next day now, so only a few hours left to be reimbursed for the Taiyo. And that should be a very nice little addition to our command points. We can see what sort of attack force we can build up with that. So I'll get back to you with that. Hopefully we do spot the carrier task force soon. I do want to know where that is, even if it is not threatening us in particular. I do need to know exactly where that is, just for future planning, of course. So we should be back in just a second. Okay, so we have been reimbursed for the Taiyo, and we have made what I think is quite a nasty task force of our own. We have a Teruzuki, a Takanami, Akatsuki, Hibiki, Takao, Suzuya, Myoko, and Suzuki. So that is 2 Akazukis, 2 Akatsukis, and a Yugumo, as well as a Takao class cruiser, a Mogami, and a Myoko, which is absolutely disgusting for the enemy to deal with, I believe. Not going to go for light cruisers, simply because I don't think they lack the firepower enough to actually deal with anything that our destroyers can't handle. And of course, with the 3 heavy cruisers here, we should be absolutely fine with that. Unfortunately, we didn't have quite enough points to spend for a battleship. Unfortunately, we will be going for that perhaps in the future. That might be another purchase when we next get reinforced. So we'll see about that. Perhaps in the comments you'd like to ask for a ship of your liking as well, to have some sort of input onto the series, which would be very nice indeed. I'm sure we would all appreciate that. So what we're going to go for is we're going to look at the formation they're going to take as well. Quite like the battle line sort of thing, actually, with a I think the Suzuki at position 8 would not be particularly bad. Actually, I do want destroyers on there. If we put 6 and 5 as destroyers as well, so if we swap positions over here, where is number 5? Takao can swap with, I think, the number 3. Should be great. I do perhaps want a 4 to be a destroyer as well, though. So let's see, 2 and 4. Let's see. Oh, Hibiki is 4. That's brilliant stuff. So we'll go Mogami, Yugumo, Takao, Akatsuki. Brilliant stuff. And that, I think, should be fine. Where is Miyoko? Is at 7. I think having Miyoko at 7 would be absolutely fine, actually. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? So let's carry on like that, and they can come down and they can scout around down here, perhaps look out for any patrols the Americans might have out there, which would be brilliant stuff. Again, no sign of the enemy aircraft carrier. We are going to send the I-17 out down towards the American bases over here to see if we can get some forward scouting off, perhaps, and see if we can get a Glenn out from there as well to get some sort of aerial scouting as well. So let's see what we can find. Well, shit. This is an emergency. Oh my god. Okay, so after much scouting, as you've seen, see the big bubble of fighters, and Jake's going out to look for anything. You can see the task force has reappeared. We can only assume this is the same task force as well, so we are going to actually redirect Jake straight over here to see if we can spot that immediately, and we are going to have to use the aircraft from Hiyo and Ryujo to try and hit something out of here. If we can hit the battleship off of this, then of course we can go straight in with Yamato, and we should be able to deal with this with fairly few issues there. So we are going to launch the Kates first, because they will hit the hardest, of course. We're going to launch as many as we can, which is 12. That's going to take 0.6 hours to get there. That is very nice indeed. We are going to launch some fighters from the Ryujo as well. We are going to launch, I think, 9 fighters. 9 zeros off of there, which will be brilliant. Can we launch anything else off of there actually at the same time? We can indeed, and we can launch 12 Kates, but I believe we can only have 24 aircraft in the air at any one time. So that's actually going to be just about enough, actually, isn't it? So that's unfortunate. Yeah, so that's what we can get in there at the moment, which is a shame. We should really, I think, try and launch some Kates anyway, just so that we can get a second strike in straight after the first, of course. So let's scout it out with our Jake first and see exactly what we've got. It is a slightly different task force, as you can see from the fact that we have a Lexington here. And the scariest thing about it is the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed not 1, but 2 North Carolinas. This is going to be tough. This is going to be very tough. This is the hardest challenge that we've had so far in this series, and that is not a nice challenge as I want to rise up to, if I'm perfectly honest. But one upside here is that this is a 100% fighting force. There are no cargo ships in this task force, so we're going to change our tactics a little bit. This means we can play with our food a little bit. So having said that, now that there are no cargo ships in the task force, the biggest priority is actually sinking the Lexington here. Or I suppose specifically the Saratoga, because we did sink the Lexington. This is of course a Lexington class. Yeah, so we've got 2, I think they're town classes. The Crown Colony is the larger, slimmer one, which we did actually sink on the first episode, wasn't it? They will provide a fair amount of AA, actually. Shall we go exactly to them to see exactly what we have in terms of AA? Should be the towns over here. No, okay, it's Crown Colony. I stand corrected. The only 2 Crown Colonies we have, the Mauritius and Gambia. So the anti-aircraft is quite concentric. It doesn't appear to have the greatest range. Is that because well, the main batteries aren't dual purpose, which is very, very nice indeed, because they're 152mm. That would be some very nasty flak. They do only have 8 secondary guns, which are of course the anti-aircraft guns there. They're only like 4 on each side, I imagine, which is very nice indeed. Can launch a couple of scouts, but it's not a problem. The armour is rather thin as well, but we do want to look at the AA of the battleships and the carrier, shall we? So let's go to Lexington. Not the heaviest armour on the Lexington, of course, which is very, very nice indeed, but the AA is ubiquitous, shall we say. It's everywhere. It does have some decent range. There's not really a weak point to attack from here. It does have 12 dual-purpose guns of 127mm there, which is rather nasty indeed. Shall we go to double-check the North Carolinas here? They have 20 127mm dual-purpose guns, so we can expect, no particularly easy approach here onto the North Carolinas. If they do keep the formation that they're in, that we will have to get past the guns of the destroyers and of course the Crown colonies as well. So that is rather nasty. Rather nasty indeed. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's see what we can do with our torpedo bombers. Okay, so the first thing to do is going to actually pull back the Yamato force, because I don't think we could stand up to the two North Carolinas, especially since we actually have a damaged Mogami, slightly damaged Tonne with its funnel down, and of course the Yamato is taking glancing shots as well, so we do need to take that into account today, unfortunately. So we're going to send the Zeros in first, of course, because they will be quicker and they'll be able to screen our torpedo bombers, which are going straight in now. We're going to try and bring up the I-9 as well, at least, because that's the closest. I would rather bring up these two instead. I was a bit foolish to bring out this overnight to try and get some scouting, simply because we thought the other task force was over here as well. So we're going to skip ahead and see what we can do in the next engagement. Okay, so we are now just about to be in range with our torpedo bombers. Going to bring these Kates out just to be watching in the distance. It does appear the direction they're going is towards our carriers, so we will think about bringing those back preemptively, just in case, because they are going quite northerly, nowhere near our bases. As you can see, them moving very slowly there. We are going to go into a tactical position very soon, just bring back so we get a little bit of distance here, and we're going to go in now. Okay, so it does appear that we are coming from their bow. We're just going to wait to identify them on the map, which should not be very long at all. Thank you very much. Okay, so exactly which one is the Lexington here? It is the number 3. So we're going to get all of our Kates to target that, and they are of course going to go straight down to an attacking altitude at full speed, because we do not have much time to waste at all. Going to go straight down, get out there, and if we can attack from the as rear as possible, because that will be where the air is concentrated least, but you can only hope, really, can't you? We will be in range for the entirety of the engagement. We can only hope that they focus our Zeros instead. I do of course want to try and make sure our Kates survive a little bit, so we come back with a few Kates. Don't want to lose everyone here by any means at all. Not going to go for hammer and anvil either. Or are we actually? You know what, I think we are going to go for hammer and anvil, just to make things harder for the enemy. Indeedy. So let's target that again and come back with this group, and they can go down over to their starboard side with the other group of Kates. Going to tell the Zeros actually to hover over the Kates. Some of them will go down, I think, to a lower altitude, just in case there are wildcats in the area. We do want to make sure they are sufficiently protected. I think we're going to go over here as well with this group and hope for the best, I think. Let's fast forward. There's nothing else really to do until, of course, we spot the inevitable wildcats there. So we are going to issue some orders with the Zeros here. Get some Zeros 2 to 1, I think, at the moment with our Zeros in ratio with the attacking wildcats there, which is very, very nice indeed, I think. So we do that. We'll go over there, of course. I'm sure this isn't the only group of wildcats, but if it is, I'll be very, very happy indeed. So we do heavily outnumber them. What was that? That's just another group over here. Okay, so we're going to get these Zeros over them as well, just to make sure we have some sort of micromanagement involved here. We will try and shoot down as many as we can here. So we are struggling just a little bit now, and they are changing their orders once again without us telling them to do so, which is rather nasty indeed. So we're going to try and stay on top of that if possible. We have shot down one aircraft already, and that is brilliant news. There is yet another group of Wildcats out, and that is rather nasty as well. But that does mean that they're going for our zeros rather than our Kates just yet, and that's exactly what we want to hear. Our first group of Kates is coming in actually, so we do want to try and micro this a little bit more to see. We have lost 1-0 now, which is rather nasty, rather nasty indeed. We're going to slow down here to get into an attacking speed and go straight in with this group of Kates. Going to go straight in with this group as well. Our other Kates are just on the approach still. That's not a problem whatsoever. Doesn't look like they're just now firing at our first group of Kates. We could have timed that a little bit better, I think, but not to worry. This group is going to slow down once again as well, so that we're at a decent position there. Second, we have already lost one Kate, which is rather a shame there. Lost another one already as well. We're going to make sure that they're staying attacking. Do you want one to go off? Ooh, it's a fairly lucky drop there though. Did crash into the ship here. How are our zeros doing very quickly? Shall we just take a quick pause? Take a quick pause over here to make sure we're microing this just a little bit better, I think. Where are we? Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do is change these over a little bit like that, I think, just to help us out a little bit there. And let's watch the second group of Kates. Doesn't look like the first torpedo is going to hit. Actually, they are taking evasive maneuvers though. Might be wrong there. It looks like it could well hit. I think we need 4 or 5 total successful hits though. That's 1, and I will happily take that. We are certainly attacking here at a decent speed. That I have forgotten this group here, so we're going to tell that to attack and slow down as well to make sure our torpedoes don't bounce off here. We did forget to do our altitude there, which is rather stupid indeed. Oh, this one decided, because it's lost its the rest of its group, not to attack, so we're going to make sure that's attacking now as well. Not going well at all, and that one didn't even manage to drop. Not going well at all here. Perhaps we should all have gone in at the same time there. Yeah, we've already lost 2 here. It's not looking good whatsoever. The lead here is actually not looking brilliant. Hopefully it drops soon though. There we go. Let's tell that to get out if possible. Just go to the flank of the enemy there. How are we looking here? I think we should just be about alright here. Let's tell them to increase their speed. Go down a bit quicker, shall we? I really hope we get a few hits from this group though. Not looking good, however, is it? Let's tell them to go in, and they can dive down on the approach, I think. That is 1 more hit though onto the Lexington there. We're going to slow down here and tell them to attack. Hopefully that's decent. They don't have to circle round. Doesn't like we've dealt with all of the Wildcats though, so that's something. And we are going to get all of our torpedoes off there. We haven't lost all of the Wildcats, they are just coming down towards our Kates. So very lucky there to get them off. Where are our Kates? Over here. We have some in the flank, and these are the ones which are actually waiting. So what we can do is focus on sinking and destroying the enemy Wildcats actually, and we're going to try and do that right now. Let's get another one actually, I think. Where are the rest of our zeros? Can't quite see exactly. Looks like we're in the middle over here. Might just hit with one of these torpedoes, which is rather sad. I would have liked 2. Might not even get 1 actually. There's 1. I'll take that very nicely. Thank you very much. That's caused us some decent fires as well, which is very thankful for. As we get rid of these Wildcats, we might well bring in the Kates as well, but it doesn't look like that will be the case there, unfortunately. Because we did have to fly over the enemy's flank and such. It doesn't look like these torpedoes are going to hit anything either on their approach, which is rather sad, actually. Rather sad indeed. And there we go. So it looks like we have lost the air engagement there. We have got these Kates here, so we are going to retreat, I think. If we can, let's tell them to increase their speed first. And see if the fires actually develop a bit. With a little nudge from the Pensacola there. Actually, it's not a Pensacola. It is indeed a Pensacola. I was thinking of the previous task force. But yeah, let's see exactly what damage we've taken here. It's heavy and heavy, so the fires and floods could develop. So I don't want to lose these Kates. Really, that would be 10 Kates lost already. I don't want it to be all 12. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. I would love it if this sunk here. Really love it. How many did that take? One, just the 3 torpedoes, I think. He's only reading the 2 there, which is rather sad, actually. But that's not a whole log. We may have to hit this again, unfortunately. So let's retreat for now. Retreat for now, I think. Go in, but we are going to have to cover this next group of Kates with some more fighters. We do have 12 or 13 available on Guadalcanal. We're going to go in with 9 once again. 9 howitzers over here. Follow those through and then try and hit it with these 12 Kates as well. We'll try and do that a little bit better, I think. Does look like they're retreating now though, which is very, very useful indeed. So let's go in like that. They're launching some scouts, no doubt to hit our Yamato group. So let's go in and have them stay in position over here and bring the Kates into a slightly more ideal position, more in line with the howitzers, I think. Like about, maybe about there, maybe a little bit closer. What's the distance there? I think that'll do. I think that'll do very nicely. Just need to scout them out now, of course, and there we are. We're on their flank, which is actually more ideal. Where is it? Still in the same position. That's nice. They've got on top of their fires and such as well. So we're going to bring the howitzers first, of course, to scout out for any wildcats. We can bet the AI has managed to launch even more. Going to get all of our Kates actually. Learn from our mistakes last time and actually go in all together, I think, this time, and try and go in from the flank as well a little more directly, like so. Let's not forget to change the altitudes on the approach this time either. That was a massive misplay on the previous engagement. I do apologise for those that like to see the complete reduction of misplays, but it's not to worry there. We will eventually get this carrier down. It's just a shame we have to sacrifice so many aircraft in the meantime. So let's go max speed and see if we can indeed get this ruddy bloody aircraft carrier down. If we do, I imagine this group will start to... there we go, we got some wildcats. I imagine the group will start to retreat in full if we get this down, which would be absolutely ideal. Absolutely ideal indeed. It does look like they have more wildcats than what we left previously as well, so we will be expecting another 12 wildcats out, I think, and that is not ideal actually at all. But we're going to get this one on the approach there. Very, very nice indeed. Very, very nice indeed. Lovely bit of coconut rice indeed. So let's get that over here as well. Let's get this squadron over. Does it like, where is this lot going? That is very strange that they have just ignored them completely. So let's go over like that, I think. There we go, another group. So let's actually get this group on to there, I think. Just going to pause very quickly so we can do this a little bit better. I do apologise for the stopping and starting. Let's keep going. Like that. Have we changed our orders without being told? No, it doesn't appear so. That's a lot of wildcats. That is a lot of wildcats. Perhaps we should have brought all 12 howitzers in. We shall see. We've downed one more wildcat, which is brilliant news. Which howitzer was that? It is this one indeed. Brilliant. Okay, so let's get that on the approach over here, so we can start on that group as well. We can bring these over. Looks like we have actually changed our orders without being told, which does really hinder our ability to take on these planes. which is rather frustrating. Rather frustrating indeed, actually. Let's do that. Do it like that, I think. And our Kates are now on a decent approach. We're going to tell them to attack here. Probably could have waited a little bit if there weren't any Wildcats about, because of course the Lexington, I imagine, is going at a slightly slower pace than the previous than it really should do. Don't know why I can't speak today. I do apologise. It's going slower than max speed, is what I want to say in plain terms there. It goes to everyone to attack it. Not going to take any chances though. This is certainly overkill if we do get some decent hits in, but so I want to make sure this is down, and that will mean that the Wildcats are gone, as well as any future air threats for our very close by Yamato. We are going to drop soon, hopefully though, with this group. Come on guys, you're going to drop. There we go. Drop now, don't you? Just going to pause very quickly and tell them to circle back out like that to increase your speed, but it might be a bit too late there. Yeah, crashed into the Lexington though, so that'll be a little bit more damage on it. We are losing Kate very, very quickly there. Very, very quickly indeed, and that lead on those torpedoes is not ideal with the turn the Lexington's taking there. We lost so many Kates so quickly there. Look at that. They're all gone. Look at it. That's disgusting. Got only a few torpedoes off and most of them are going to miss. In fact, this one not looking too promising either. You can see these ones just about. Probably should have microed that a little bit better. Once again, how are we looking here? Is that one going to miss as well? It's right here. No, what a waste. What a waste. Oh no. Why is it so difficult? Should definitely have microed that a bit better. We're going to retreat with the airbases now, I think, just to make sure not all of those are down as well. We launched so many Kates at that. Really makes you wonder what the point of having these bloody aircraft carriers about is, doesn't it? But on that very sad bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is all we have time for today. We are going to pick up this particular fight in the next episode, hot off the heels, as we always do. We have unfinished business for sure, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave you on a bit of a cliffhanger there today. But thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a little hair-raising, a bit of a slow start, but for a lot of action at the end once again. So thank you very much for watching. I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.